The comment he made about her dating, that was, her comeback was funny. I bet you wish you was touching on these, girl. Let's start with Kendra and Joc. I think the biggest scene with them is the one that was hinted at in the last episode, where she is bringing up freezing her eggs to him. I want you to think about, on the surface, she's talking about freezing her eggs, but in general, as you'll see her build up to the explosion, disrespectful in his face, she's not talking about freezing eggs anymore. She's really talking about the state of their marriage as a whole and how she's not getting her needs met. So I want to go through some of the red flags that are happening here, and then if Kendra was my client, what I would share with her. When Kendra approached bringing up freezing her eggs with Joc, they're coming from a history of cheating in their relationship. I know they've only been married, 2.5 years or something like that, but Joc has 9 children by 5 different women. If that's not a red, I don't know, that's a banner. That's a, why did you even marry this man? But hey, I believe in marriage. I love marriage. People can decide to work on almost anything in a marriage. The two of them together, if they have a shared vision, they can do anything really. I think when she first brought up that she didn't want to have any children with him, that was also not about not having children. That was, I don't feel safe and secure in this marriage, so there is no way in hell I am going to be pregnant by you, because I will just be a 6 baby mama being left by you to raise another child on my own. I think she did mental gymnastics for herself in order to keep being in the relationship and then eventually to go forward with the wedding and the marriage, because she knew that this was not a man she could trust. So removing kids from the table, if you think about just dating in general, if you remove having kids or the pressure to have kids from the table, it puts less pressure on the dating experience, because there's also not a biological clock to contend with. You're not also needing the person that you're with to be a good father to your children. There are a different set of requirements in a relationship when you also want that person to be a good father. So their conversation escalated into an argument about the freezing the eggs, because in this moment, Kendra is not hearing the support that she would like. And this ends up being just one example of many examples of times that she doesn't feel supported or respected or valued in the relationship. She knows she looks stupid being a part of this relationship. She knows she deserves better. And so the anger comes out. And so when she's saying things like, if you're not going to do what you're supposed to do, then leave me, right? She's really talking to herself. Like, I know I'm supposed to leave this guy. I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here and I'm angry with myself. But she's projecting that onto Joc. She's angry with herself for putting up with all of this nonsense for so long. Another thing she said was, let somebody who deserves me have me. She also talked about if they get divorced, if they're not together, she'll have these eggs. I'm thinking she doesn't mean that they'll be fertilized embryos, but now is a good time for her to freeze her eggs. 35-year-old eggs and 41-year-old eggs are completely different quality eggs. Like at 41, the likelihood of having like a good egg, healthy egg is so low. Oh my gosh. Now is the time. But it's loaded. This conversation is loaded because of all of the issues and all of the red flags that exist in their relationship. They are also one of those people, maybe I said in my last video, who are in a sort of codependent relationship. Kendra has a difficulty in managing her emotions, and so putting them onto Joc in this way helps her feel good about herself in the end, right? She'll walk away from that feeling like, I told him, I did whatever, when really she just has a really hard time regulating her own feelings and standing up for what she knows she deserves. Often for women who love too much, it's extremely difficult to focus on themselves and improve themselves and become the kind of person that they would need to be to attract a man that's going to love them, value them, respect them, communicate with them in an effective way. Instead, they're overly focused on getting their partner to do or say things or be a certain way. And all of that effort into trying to get this man to fix something or change something is just a distraction from all the ways that Kendra can improve her own life. So if Kendra came to me, right, if she was my client and she said, you know, I was asking my husband about freezing my eggs and it just turned into this big argument and, you know, things got out of hand and I was loud, all of that. If this is the story she told me, my response would be, okay, we've talked about your anger before, because this wouldn't be our first session, right? We've talked about how you express anger before. And I like to tell people, anger is the emotion of action. When you get so angry in a situation that didn't require that much anger, it's a sign that something else is going on. But it's also a sign that you need to do something. What do you think is the action that you need to do or the thing you need to say to happen here? She'll think about it, she'll think about it. And depending on where she is in her, self-reflection and growth, she would understand that this is really not about the eggs. This is about her feeling she doesn't have any agency or space or value in the relationship. And then we can go down that path. Usually women like Kendra are not ready for a long time and maybe forever to hear that they are part of the problem. And if they left the relationship or took a break or just decided they were going to inform their husband they were going to do something versus acting like you were asking for permission or going to consider what he wanted when you've already made this decision for yourself, it's one of those things where it's more passive communication and we can practice more assertive communication in the future. At the end of the day, these are not the sort of relationships that have to end. I know a lot of people, I think, probably watching the show are thinking they're always arguing, they're always having these problems. Why don't they just end the relationship? But if they ended the relationship, each of them will probably find someone very similar to argue with in the future. And then it can be really helpful to grow and learn how to be a better partner in this relationship, whether or not your partner is also changing. In Kendra's case, she could inform Joc in an assertive way what she would like, what she would want to do. She can have separate conversations about, I don't feel like I can trust you. I feel like I'm stupid. I feel like you are embarrassing me. Those can all be conversations that don't have to lead to an argument or some disrespect happening. And Joc sounds like he's committed to staying married, would like to stay married. And so if that's the case, they can have these conversations where he improves upon his behaviors, but not that she requires them in a way where if you do this, then I'm going to do that. It's more of a loving way of holding your partner accountable because we have agreed that there are things we would like to improve on in the relationship. I don't know if that's really what's happening with them. We'll see what happens moving forward. I'm guessing she will freeze her eggs, and I'm also guessing they will end they don't have to end the relationship, but this kind of toxicity without resolution often leads to people ending a relationship, cheating, and then something else happening and ending the relationship. So then let's go back to the beginning of the episode where Lil Zane came out and he was talking about how he was married. How it's so inappropriate to be talking about women in this way while you're married. I know men are men, right? But they're also on a TV show and they know they're listening things. There's also mics picking up what they're saying. Just the show, just a man who is immature and not a good husband. I don't know. Okay. The interaction between his wife, what's her name? Ashley. It does look like Lil Zane and Ashley do not communicate well. It looks like on camera, because there's people around that will stop him from escaping the conversation, she brought up certain topics that he's like very uncomfortable with. And, oh, you're putting a lot on me right now. He would find a way to get out of those conversations if the camera wasn't around. But she used it it looked to me like she used the cameras being around as an opportunity to actually try to get real responses from him. They really look like they don't talk. Her saying that maybe if he's around other married men that he could get like a positive influence. I'm like, have you seen these men? You've never watched this show, because I would not look at these men for an example of how to be a good husband. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So that was wild that she said that. But then she came back after and said, oh, never mind, because these men, they don't look like they know what they're doing either. Lil Zane did say that they're going through a rough patch right now. And I was wondering, is it a rough patch or is it an entire relationship of lying and cheating? The whole baby mama drama. Why is this such a common theme across these people? Men often want their cake and eat it too. I think it would be more helpful for women to not compete with one another. But that's also a theme in this show, because like belittling side chicks is a sign that you're competing with other women for a man and that you've won because you're not this side chick when you're all losers. Like nobody won just because in public he's holding your hand. Girl, behind closed doors, exactly like Joc was demonstrating, you might be having sex with this one person and looking over there, but it's just, nobody is getting the fullness of what they deserve. Now, I'm a person who believes in or helps people find a way to have like polyamorous relationships. If that is something you want, I think you can also get that. But you don't get that by lying and cheating on people. You make it clear to other people that this is something that you would like, and you find people who agrees with that lifestyle or not. Obviously, he didn't find people, but there are some women who would love to be sister wives, who loves the community aspect of having a sister friend that they can also raise kids with. Why do they even like Lil Zane anyway? Okay, moving on. Saucy Santana performed. I thought that was great. I loved how he brought up the point about all this weight that he's put on. And no, it's not about aesthetics, because you can be in a bigger body and be beautiful and attractive. But there is a health component, and not in your 20s or 30s. Most people don't have issues with putting on more and more weight. But in your 40s, 50s, 60s, that extra weight does, impact health-wise in a significant way, because it, builds up over time. Neither here nor there. I'm glad he's talking about it. I think he did a great job. At his Pride performance, I'm happy for Saucy Santana. The Spice robbery, I just wrote robbery. Like, I took notes, I just wrote robbery. I guess nothing about Spice is really interesting so far in this season. Not that, I guess a robbery isn't supposed to be interesting, but what did they take? What did it affect? I can understand not wanting to live in the same place after your home has been violated. It's a sacred space. I don't know. Somehow they talked about it, and at the end of it, it still didn't feel like a big deal. Like, I'm looking for a new house, but this house ain't big enough. I need a bigger house. Okay. Moving on. Then we'll end with Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine. I wrote, is this real, when I was taking my notes. So I'm thinking, like, Jasmine still talking about, like, why is she telling more people that Kirk wants to sleep with her? That part I don't get. When Kirk was talking to Rashida and she was asking him if he said these things, or I heard you, I guess, see, the assertiveness is not there. Because I'm not sure she directly asks, did you text her these things? She just said it as a statement of what she heard from Erica and this and that. And then Kirk's response was not, oh no, I never did that. That never happened. He was basically coming up with an excuse in his mind about, when you find out for sure that I did do this, here's why. Like, she was naked at the door. It was wild. It looked to me like he was lying. Why? So I don't think he did anything, right? I don't think Jasmine was interested in him doing anything like intimate. But I think if she was, they probably would have done something. But it's bad enough for a husband who cheated on you, who had a baby on you, to still be running back to the other baby mama. Like, that is so embarrassing. I don't know, why would y'all do this on TV? Maybe Rashida and Kirk want to be like this positive example of how you can get through anything in marriage, and we are just being real and transparent, and sometimes these things happen in marriage. They don't have to happen. They don't have to happen. I know that cheating is very common, but these kinds of repeated events do not have to be a part of your marriage. And I guess if they are, and I'm just like, well, let him cheat in peace then. Why are you even confronting him about it? Because this is your man. It didn't sound like news to me when we found out that he was texting these things to Jasmine. It sounds like that's kind of what your man does. So if you're not going to leave him, let him cheat in peace. But maybe you wanted to improve. I don't know if this is the way to get it to improve, because either he wants to have multiple women, or there's something he's not getting from you that he would like, right? Maybe there's like a disconnect in you all's relationship that probably has nothing to do with your sex life, but has something to do with how the relationship feels overall. Girl, I don't know. I just know it only makes sense. Jasmine and Kirk meeting doesn't make sense, but the interaction that they do have is what I would expect if they happened to be in each other's presence. I don't think if there weren't cameras around that the two of them would meet at a park to talk about their child. But I do think at some point, maybe at the school, maybe at a pickup for the weekend, that they would have a similar interaction as this, where she's saying, you're lying. He's saying, no, you're lying. He's saying you were at the door naked. I could believe that she was in a towel or half undressed or in her home. She could dress however she wants in her home. If you know the man coming though. I mean, but I could believe that she was inappropriately dressed for your kid's father picking up the child. I could believe that. The comment he made about her that was, her comeback was funny. I wish she was touching on, I bet you wish she was touching on these, girl. Jasmine looks so sinister. She is so sexy, but she looks so sinister. And so I'm wondering if like this really is, I want you to feel bad. Like I want to embarrass you, because I would not be talking about this anymore. Like, this is my kid's father. This information will get back to my child. Like, how is that going to impact them? This is also TV, but somehow it doesn't make any sense, because in the next episode she's telling somebody else again. Why are we still talking about this? Why is it news? Like, I'm not surprised. That's what Kirk wanted to do. I'm surprised you're talking about it so much. I think I'm surprised you're talking about it so much. I don't think she's asking for too much from Kirk. But like I said in my previous video, I just think Kirk views himself as a certain kind of dad. And if he wants to provide financially, then he is. And that's really all he wants to do. I don't think that's enough, but to him it feels like enough. If I was in that relationship, which I would never be in a situation like that, but if I was, I would be saying, this is the kind of man he is. This is the kind of dad he wants to be. I'm not going to fight. Like, I'm definitely one of those people who takes the path of least resistance. I don't have to fight for anything. That's fine. And my child would not have to fight either. And if their parent is somebody who wants to be a part of their life in a minimal way, that's what it's going to be, because I can't make them. I can explain to my child. I can help process with my child, but I can't make their parent want to spend quality time with them. Like, I can't do that. That was the episode. I will be back. I'm committed to reviewing this show. I'm committed. I promise you. I don't know about finishing, not finishing. I don't know about next season. I don't know. Let's see if I get through this, how it feels. This show is not easy to watch. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Come back for next week's review.